So sorry about starting a little bit late today. Right about the time that I was going to start, one of the girls here wanted me to take a look at some fish that have been in quarantine for a while, and she just wanted, to know what we needed to do to continue to try to get the fish healthy, So sorry about that. This kind of last minute thing, so it made me start a little bit late. The screensaver that I used for the video today is male peacock, the Chalumbas. Let me go back here. Sorry about that. This thing's getting a little wonky. Actually, it's on this next row. What's up, Brian P? What is that thing? All right, here we go. So, because I used it as the screenshot for this video, the thumbnail, these guys are looking spectacular. So, this is the strain that we brought in from Germany. What was it? Last December. These guys came in. They've been producing lots of nice babies for us. So it's like, you know what? Let's take a picture of that male and use him as today's thumbnail. So we do have these available in bigger sizes. I do not know what the current stocking is on it, but I do know that we've got quite a few babies already big enough for sale, and that we have been sending them out. So that's the Albino Acara, Masoni, Chitemba. All right. So we got lots of new, Malawis coming online. This is the Cenodontis SP Lion, and you can see that female's got a mouthful. You can see the nice male there in the back. Really nice. So on the Mabuna types, I kind of watched, some of the different African cichlid groups on Facebook, and I think a lot of people don't know how to properly keep Mabunas species. If you want them to do the best, I would do a species-only tank of a strain of Mabuna types. They don't really do well with all male Mabunas. I mean, it's just like World War III for Mabunas when you got a bunch of males in the tank. But I would, to get them to look the best, I would definitely set up a tank specific for Mabunas, and you'll start getting a lot more color. Like this is the yellow Mara elongatus, and you can see just how beautiful they are. They're pretty shy, but they don't like me standing in front of their tank. So, all right, I'm gonna get some of these questions so I don't fall too far behind. James Smith is on. What's up, James from Ohio? Good to hear from you, James. Hey, we're gonna try to be at the OCA this year in Cleveland, so hopefully you could make the drive up and see us. So, thank God it's Friday. I agree, Brian. Ernesto, what's up? Harvey Simpson, glasses, getting old, Devil Dog. Hey, I didn't realize just how bad my vision was until I went to the eye doctor. So it was, I could see a lot better. So yes, vision is definitely failing me at this point in my life. I really think ever since I had COVID last year, that my vision's been just steadily getting worse. So hopefully it doesn't keep getting worse. So let's hope that it's just the fact that I'm in my 40s now and that I need glasses, So here's another nice male. This is a Neochromis Gold Mamba, and there's 4 males in there, and really nice fish. So I wanted to also go over a couple things. So we had a couple customers this week that, and this is every week, that say, hey, I ordered a 5-inch Azurius male Copochromis, and now that I had the fish in my tank for a week, or one customer, I think it was like 9 days he's had the fish, and he's like, I think you sent me females, and I was like, well, send me a picture. He sent me a picture. I'm like, no, you have a male. Actually, he had two of them, but the problem is that he put them in an all male tank, and especially on the Neochromis species, they're a shy fish. So in an all male tank, they might not show color. So you guys that have kept African cichlids, peacocks, and haps for a long time, you'll see which ones in your tank are dominant, and those are going to be the most color on those fish. So a lot of people that are kind of new to African cichlids, they don't get that. They see full color male on the website or on Facebook, and they're like, that's the fish I want. Well, the only way you're going to get that fish to look that colorful and that nice is by having him in an environment that he feels happy in and dominant in. So I'm always impressed when I see all male peacock tanks or with haps in them that all the fish are showing great color, because that's very hard to do because of the dominance factor. So you know, hopefully he hasn't responded back to my email, but I spent like way too long trying to explain it all to him. But hopefully whenever we get the front of the warehouse done, we're going to set up some like 75s and 125s that are going to be tanks that are going to be used for us to show people, you know, how, you know, to set up an African tank and get them looking like that, you know. So you know, I'm going to flip this screen around and show you the Azurias, because, you know, there's a couple males in there that are looking like really nice, and there's females in the tank. I see David just commented too, and he's a big fan of the Azurias. I know he's bought them several times, and I'm sure that that's something that he's had to learn is, hey, how do I get that male to look like, you know, really, really stunning? And having it with females is going to be the best way to do it, because when they have females around, then they want to show their colors off and they want to look nice for the ladies. But you throw that same fish in an all-male tank, chances are he's going to look just like one of the females, or very, very little color. And even with that being said, this is a 75, and there's probably about 30 fish in that tank, and I only see two of them that have pretty good color, right? That one's got decent, that one's decent, but he's the dominant one in the tank. So when we count these males out, say you order a 4 to 5 inch Azurias, we're going to count the most colorful one out, and then literally within a short time of us taking him out, one of these males, probably that guy right there, is going to all of a sudden say, hey, I'm the top dog now. So, you know, a lot of African cichlids is their mood is how you're going to get the bright colors. Here's another example. This is the pink flash, which is a hybrid, all right? But you can see that, you know, this male right here, both of those males are dominant. You can see the one chasing everybody away, he's dominant. And then you look at one of the, you know, subdominants, like that would be a subdominant right there in the middle. He's not showing that great of color. So a lot of, you know, keeping these beautiful fish is, you know, providing an environment that they could feel like, hey, I'm the man in this tank, and, you know, I know there's other men in this tank, but I'm going to show my colors off. So, you know, there's a lot of, you know, science that goes into it, and you know, compatibility. So, you know, people that have, you know, all male tanks, that's just a hard lesson they're going to have to learn on how to keep that fish looking spectacular, you know, or make it look spectacular. So, but I wanted to go over that because that was you know, something that popped up this week, and I wanted to make sure you know, people understood kind of how that works. So we're going to try to do a better job also on our end, working with, you know, the hobby, that especially our Facebook group on Imperial Tropicals Fish Keepers group, that, you know, we'll be able to spend more time. I've actually hired several new people recently that are doing a great job, that once they get trained, we're going to try to have more time to, you know, show people, you know, proper ways to set up and establish, you know, the tanks where the fish will look the best and be the happiest, you know. So I'm going to try to go back up to some of these questions. This is on the Colombian ram tank, the Ramirez. This is what the wild type rams look like, and they're very, very nice. Caged Aquatics is on. What's up, Keith? Los Angeles Cyclist, good morning in LA. Kim's on. Albino Madokas said Mason are one of my favorites. Beauties, they are. They're spectacular. Dylan is asking, can I see some of your red koi, angelfish, or Veltel angels? I will. I'll walk over and show you guys the angelfish. So, Susan's on. Nice. Thank you, Susan. And thank you for all the work that you guys do in the group, too. Kim's asking, what do you suggest for a 75-gallon tank? Well, that's there's a lot of options there. So you just kind of have to decide what group of fish is your favorite, you know, whether it be South American or, you know, some people even like Central Americans, which for the most part, a 75 is not going to be big enough for most Central Americans. Some, but, you know, do you want a community tank? Do you want a mid-aggressive tank? Do you want to do an African tank? And if so, what kind of Africans do you like? Do you like the Lake Malawi peacocks and haps? Do you want to go with the all Mabuna tank? Do you want to go with a Tanganyikan setup? So there's just endless, you know, possibilities on what direction you can go with your tank. But I would suggest, if you haven't already, to join our Imperial Tropicals Facebook page, the Imperial Tropicals Fish Keepers group. Join that group. A lot of these people that are on this live feed right now are already in that group, and you know, they're going to show you how they've had success keeping fish. You could see different tank setups, and that will really help you decide on what you want to put in your tank, and it'll help you know when your tank is ready for fish. That's another big learning curve is, hey, when is my tank ready for me to start adding fish? For the most part, everybody wants to, like, you know, skip over the whole, you know, cycling of a tank and just start putting fish in, and that's usually where you run into trouble. So so definitely join that group, and I think it will help you be successful and have a beautiful tank. So all right, I'm gonna go back to some of these questions. All right, yeah, I thought somebody had asked about the Colombian Rams. That's why I stopped here. Jeff's Aquatics. Here's some of the Colombian Rams right here. Hello, Mauricio from Mexico. What's up? Glad to see you on. Canesto said he'll be at the OCA also. Looking forward to it, David, because that's the OCA has always been one of my favorite shows to go to. It's just a great community of fish keepers up there in Ohio. Dang, his eye check ended up in the ER. That's not good. So that's one thing you don't want to have messed up is your eyes, because you can't hard to repair damage to that. So Chris says somebody got a fancy haircut. I don't remember anybody getting a fancy haircut. I did get my hair cut maybe 2 weeks ago, but what's up, Biggs? It's good to hear from you. Hey, and I emailed you back with the dates, you know, that they were good to go. I never got a response, so hopefully you got to go with your work trip to Orlando so we could see you. So Ahmad's getting on. What's up? All right. Kim's asking, do I need a sump or canister? Show offs, walking her through this process. Hey, it's hard to give and take, you know, all the correct info just on the Facebook Live here, especially in the comments. So, I mean, he could help you out as much as he can, but definitely if you don't join our group, maybe you don't have Facebook, send us an email. We'll break it down on you, you know, like, hey, this is an option, that's an option. But even if you don't like Facebook, which, you know, a lot of us don't, because we don't need to see what people are having for dinner every night. a lot of people are joining Facebook just so they could be in the fish group, you know, because they want to learn more about fish. And, you know, we can't deny that, you know, the social media is just an easy way for people to communicate and send pictures of their tank, show everybody their setups. So, you know, definitely, you know, do your research and join some of these groups, watch YouTube videos and how to, and you can have a beautiful tank, you know, set up. And, you know, fish keeping is not fun if you struggle at it. I mean, if it's, you know, constantly having to deal with sick fish or fish fighting or not compatible with each other. So, you know, that's why our goal here and with the Fish Keepers group is to, you know, give people the proper information so they are successful at it. And when you're successful at it, it's a lot more enjoyable to watch your fish and know that they're happy in their environment and they're doing good. So here's some of the Amazon puffer fish. So these actually, we held on to these guys for almost 2 months before we started selling them, because they came in from the wild, emancipated. We had to worm them, we had to treat them for parasites, but you know, we finally have started being able to offer these guys for sale because they're finally like really looking really nice. So so if you're into puffer fish, you know, this is a really nice puffer, but do your research on them and make sure you're keeping them correctly, because the Amazon puffer, they do better in groups. You know, some puffers, they don't do better in groups. You got to have them as individuals, like the Fahaku puffer. But these guys actually are very social with each other, and you know, they do better in groups. So, and the Cardinals are always one of my favorite. I can't wait to get the show tank set up and put like, you know, a couple hundred Cardinal tetras in one of those 600-gallon tanks. So. Oh, I just seen Drayden commented at the bottom. Good to hear from you, Drayden. Hey, I still appreciate all the help you do for the Facebook group and, you know, helping people out that do have questions. In fact, just talking about that Amazon puffer, I noticed you commented the other day, and, you know, the person you commented on said, well, I really don't want to do that much research. Well, you know, I commented, you know, and told her that, well, you shouldn't buy these fish then, because you don't know what you're doing with them until you do your research, you know. So hopefully people are doing the research, and it is great that the German strains are coming along nicely. I think, you know, next time you come back and visit, you're going to, you know, be happy with the progress that we have been making on our breeding of not only the German strains, but a lot of the other new strains are, you know, for the wild caught, and the South Americans are doing really well. So it's, you know, you were a big part of us getting all that breeding stuff more organized and more efficient. So next time you get time off, make sure you come by and see us. You know, it's pretty exciting. So everybody knows what these are. This is the German Rams. Those guys are looking good. We did get some more black German Rams in from another local breeder, and this is what I feel black Rams should look like. So it's out of focus right now, but let's see if I get them up. Let's see if I get it in focus. But these are really high quality black Rams. So you know, a lot of the times when we were getting the black Rams from some of the local breeders, they look more like a German blue with just a little bit more black, but these guys are looking way more, you know, black and very healthy. So we did save some of these back for breeders. I can see a female that's all gravid right there also. So so we're going to go see some angelfish. Dylan's asking about them again. So as far as grown up angels, Dylan, like the breeders are not in this room, but some of our angels are breeding size that we have for sale. This last time we brought some in, we brought in you know, some bigger sizes, so you know, they're pretty close to breeding size already. These guys are not, but you know, this is a mixture of sizes, are ranging from like, I'd say like a $50, quarter to $50 size. But this is a little bit of all the different strains. You got the marbles. You got, you know, some of the black, more black marbling on them. The gold angels are in there. See a nice bushy nose on the bottom there, cleaning the tanks. Oh, and I think last time somebody was asking about the bleaker eye, and they had just came into the tank. And now you'll see what these males look like when they are feeling happy. This is very similar to the Malawi fish, where if that fish isn't feeling dominant, they're going to look just like the ones up top there. But as soon as they start feeling like they're the dominant fish in the tank, they're going to get jet black. So there's some colored up bleaker eye. We've got some more angels down here, and this is more of the gold angels here. And these guys are young breeders. Like when you talk about an angelfish that size, you put them in your tank, and probably in a good environment, within a month or two, you'll start getting some breeding activity going on. So I can already see some of the females are gravid. So, you know, so if you're into breeding angels, which is always very enjoyable to watch them lay the eggs and take care of the eggs, you could order some of the larger sizes. We do not guarantee the sex of them because it is very difficult, but if you request a certain sex, we will try. We'll try to set that up for you. All right, so here's some of the koi angels, and you could see that, you know, they've got the orange marbling on them, but they're not like what I would call high contrast koi angels, but they're very nice by having the different colors. My light's not working on this tank right now, but it makes it a little bit darker in there. But you know, the nice thing about the kois is no two koi angels are the same. Each one of them are going to have different and unique markings on them. So so there's some of the koi. Here's some of our bigger silver angels, which this is going to be more what the scalare type looks like in the wild, and those guys are very nice too. So a lot of times, you know, people always want bright colors, but when these guys are looking nice with that black barring, it's hard to beat, you know, just the standard scalare angelfish. So that's the angels. We do have some veiltails up here. You see those guys. They'd be a little bit smaller. That's more like a medium size, quarter size body, but there's some of the bell angels. And then I think that's all the angels we have in right now. We are getting some new ones brought in, like Bulgarian green, some more high contrast koi angels. So we might have a few on this side. Let me see what we got over here. I thought we had some Bulgarians. Nope, they're all sold out. We do have a few more golds over here and marbles, but that's pretty much our full selection on the angelfish right now. So I'm going to set this camera in front of a tank here, and I'm going to try to answer some questions because I'm not able to do both. So let me find a tank. We can go with the Roseline Sharks. So these guys are juvenile. They're probably maybe 2 inches, very small, but you can already see that they're getting that nice red line down the body. So this is a great fish for community tanks. You know, I wouldn't put like little tiny tetras in there with them, but overall that's like one of the best fish for aquariums, as far as they're not aggressive and they just school together in the top of the water column, and they look very, very beautiful. So that's the Roseline Sharks. All right, I'm going to get back to these questions. Ali Shawn's on. What's up? Jerry from Iowa. David says, I have a 3-inch Uterus that came from breeding with females from y'all and a new male like I bought in, and he looks awesome. Well, that's what's cool about the Uterus is that even at 3 inches, I'll see the males just look on fire, like super, super colorful. But that's because even at that size, he's mature enough to breed, and he's with females. So, you know, it's it's a testament to you providing that male with an environment that is going to make him want to show off. You know, so. In fact, I think I mentioned, I didn't mention you by name, David, but I told him that if he joined the fish group, that, we got a guy in there that really likes all the Uterus that he's gotten, and he really enjoys keeping them. And maybe if you join the group, people will help you figure out how to make your fish colorful, just like you see when they're in breeding coloration, so. All right, so. David said he might have to order that other male. Yes, David said, in my experience, or from what you said, I found that all male species look so much better in species breeding setups. You're right, David. So when you go to like some of these advanced hobbyists' fish rooms, you're not going to see, fish all mixed together, because they're wanting to see that fish in its best behavior and color. So, they might have a community tank set up that as they're breeding fish, they could, have a community tank set up, but, it's just so much better. So, yes, Canesto. David said perfect. He would keep the Onopharynx and the Copochromis and the Linthrops in species-only groups. Those are all very shy fish, and you're going to get a lot better results than putting them in all male tanks. So, Nishad from Chicago. What's up, Nishad? Hey, it's been a couple years since you've been down to Florida, Nishad. You need once this COVID, it is looking a little better, I should say. You need if not this year, next springtime, plan a trip down here to see me. Chevy Fish is on. What's up, Chevy? Lynn's on. Thank you, Lynn, for we had quite a eventful week in our fish keepers group. So unfortunately, we had to lose at least 1 or 2 members that were just being really obnoxious and rude to everyone. So that's one thing about our fish group on Facebook, is that we want to treat everybody with respect, and if people can't be respectful, then they should probably go join another group. So that's just the way it is. So I'm gonna try to get through these. All right, 80s Monster Kid. Mike, is overstocking to curb aggression an old myth? I have 12 haps and peacocks in my 75, and it's a very peaceful tank. Thanks in advance. Yeah, I really do think it's more of a myth for peacocks. I personally, like when I kept my 125 set up at the house, I had 20 males in it, and I didn't feel comfortable adding anymore. I mean, if you overstock a tank, the fish are not going to grow as fast. I mean, even if you have all the filtration in the world going, if it is truly overstocked, it's going to prevent those fish from reaching full maturity, at least by slowing it down some. And then you got a higher chance of a higher percentage of them not showing their breeding colors. So, I would say in Mabuna tanks, especially mixed Mabunas, overstocking is probably a good thing, because it doesn't allow those fish to target each other, because there's so many fish moving around. But I don't think, I don't mind people overstocking them as long as they're healthy, because that means that they're going to put more fish, possibly from us in their tank, and you can still keep that tank very healthy and good. But I don't really like overstocking tanks. It's just more maintenance, more water changes. You see one of the Bleaker-eyed bottom tanks really showing their colors, and the Bleaker-eye is a very good example of one that when they are not the dominant one. They're going to be like these guys that are kind of corralled up top right there. You see them? These dominant ones are keeping them corralled up, you know. So even though this is not a Lake Malawi type, you know, cichlid, it comes from Madagascar, which, you know, has fish that are unlike any others found in the world. So they're very unique fish, but behavior-wise, you know, they're very similar to, you know, some of the bigger haps, and also very similar to South American fish. Same thing with them. If you want to see your Geophagus look, you know, the best that they possibly can, then I would have them in a group setting with females, and I think you'll be very happy with, you know, watching those fish with their natural behaviors, and I think they'll be looking spectacular for you when you do that. So we're getting a lot of people on today, so I'm gonna try not to, you know, ramble on so much, and I'll try to keep up with these questions. I'm gonna put it on the electric blue Acaras, let you guys look at those. All right, so Mike Ramos is asking about rummy nose tetras, so I'm gonna go over there, show him. They are pretty much sold out. I do believe that we have a small group left. So I think they're on the next row. Actually, I think they're on the back side of this row. We got so many tanks now, it's hard to keep up with them. No, these are all Africans. We are still waiting for some more materials for getting the rest of our tanks up and running. Once they are ready, they must be sold out because they were right here. Let me check again. Yeah, so we got, oh, we do have a couple left. So we got, I don't know, there's probably about 20 of them in there. How well you can see those guys with the camera, but you can see there's 3 of them left in this tank. This is out of the same batch, and you can see how red these noses are on these rummy nose. So let me go back, set these up on something while I go through the rest of these questions. Let's set it up on some of these black-barred silver dollars. So these guys get big. You need to have these in like a bigger tank. So, all right. James Smith, thanks for showing. Lunch break is over. That's why we timed it to be at noon time, so hopefully, you know, people could join during their lunch break. And Ahmad just said that they finally added the like button, but I think on mobile version, just have to make sure it's on horizontal mode. Nice. So you guys hit that like button now without having to disable the comments. So it only took YouTube like 3 years of not having one before they added it. So make sure you hit that like button. That tells us that people like seeing the fish and they enjoy us showing them off, you know. So Kim says she just joined Facebook. Nice. I think you'll enjoy the group, Kim. Susan's asking if anyone else had allergic reaction to bloodworms. You know, I want to say that I have heard of another person, I can't remember the details, but that said that they also were, after handling the bloodworms, were getting a rash from them. So I personally haven't, but I want to say, and I'm pretty sure it was bloodworms, that is possible. So yeah, Canesto just said Dave Hill up in Cleveland with something fishy says he can't touch bloodworms without getting a skin reaction. Huh, that's interesting. All right, Dylan. Yeah, he was talking about the angels. I'm just catching up with the comments. So, Sherlock says this is a copy of his tank. Nice. Harvey wants to see some blue dolphins. We do have some nice blue morai, and so let's go over there and take a look at those guys. What's nice about the blue morai is that they are not aggressive. You know, typically I've actually seen males that break up fights in African tanks because they kind of like it peaceful, you know. So I think they're always a spectacular fish to keep. And you know, a lot of times you very seldom do you ever see the blue morais getting beat up, even when they're in there with other aggressive fish. I don't know why some of the more dominant males do not pick fights with the blue morai, but I don't know if they just don't look at them as a threat, possibly with breeding with, you know, anybody else. But they always do very well in all male tanks, you know. So there's some of the blue morai, a couple males that just posted up with each other, but you've seen how friendly they were. So got some nice tetrastigma male there. We got some red Nyurii, Victorian cichlids in this one. And you know, you see all our fish that are kept in groups with males and females. The males just look spectacular. I mean, they are stunning. So, but you go throw them in an all male tank, you might not get the same coloration. So let me set this up on another tank, and I'm going to, this is an interesting one here. This is the Saffran Peacock. All right, so this is another one. Drayden was talking about the German strains. This is another one that is really, really attractive. You know, we're not actively creating hybrids, but this is a hybrid strain that came out of Germany. Well, sometime last year is when we first seen them available. And we noticed after the first generation that, you know, we were expecting them to all be yellow, like the one in the middle there, but we're actually seeing some that are like bright orange. All right, so we are kind of undecided how we're going to market the orange ones. Looks like most of these have good yellow markings on them, but we're going to, the other ones, they almost look like a dragon blood type orange to them. So I would imagine that the dragon blood was probably used to create this fish from the crossbreeding, but they look really attractive. So I told you know, the guys that we need to figure out how to market these fish. Maybe we call the yellow strain the yellow saffron, and then we call the orange strain the orange saffron. But if you guys are looking to add more color to your all male tanks, these guys are really nice. So let me get set up over here. Oh, Chitandis right here. Those are nice. What's another one here that I can show you guys? I guess I could keep it right here. And you can see there's only one male in there that's like really popping with color. There's other males, but there's only one in there that's showing the dominance. So you'll get way more color in your fish by having species only tanks set up with males and females. Let's keep it on the red cheek trophy ops, and then I'm gonna get to the rest of these questions. Thomas is asking about Severums and Geophagus. Let me, as soon as I move from this tank, I'll go over to those guys. Yes, earthworm and mosquito larva season. I love this time of year when we could get fresh mosquito larvae, and we actually do that Moena culture here for a lot of the fish, but it's hard to beat live foods. Kim with the donation. Wow, Kim, thank you very much. So, you know, we're not the type to ever ask, you know, for anything, but like it really helps us support what we do here. And, I'm hoping that, once I get those big tanks set up in the front of the warehouse and running, I can't show you guys yet, but we do have water in them and they're cycling, but we still got a lot to do. So, but once that is done, we're going to be doing a lot more with this social media. So everything you do, from buying fish to, supporting us on these streams, it's going to help us only grow our hobby business, because that's the way we look at it. This is it is a business, but it is also something that we're very passionate about. So we'll keep it on the Mason reefs right here. This is also from the German strain, and they just came in yesterday, so they're not like showing breeding coloration, but that's another. The Mason reef is really nice. The breeder stock of the Angelfish. So, Dylan, they're in a whole nother part of the building. Like, literally, we have a 20-acre facility here with ponds and buildings, and I used to go over to the breeding rooms and show it off, and at some point I will probably start doing some live streams from over there. But the problem is the Wi-Fi and the cell signals are really bad in those buildings, so we ended up losing the signal. But once we get something set up for that, we'll be going over there and showing you guys the breeding setup. And the gold ones and marbles and silvers, we actually buy those from a local breeder, but we do have some koi, some platinum, the red ampas, a few wild types. So but one day I'll be able to show you guys the breeding setups on those. Susan's asking about some white knights. I know we had some juvies in, Susan. I'm going to do a quick pass through and see if I can't show you some white knights on the way to go over and look at the Geophagus. Let me look. Let's do all these. Might be on this other side. I know if we have them, they're not going to be very big, so it'll definitely be just juveniles. This albino circulophi. You can see some of these guys as I walk by it. Yellow labs and circulophi. We got some rusties. We got some bigger red top hungies. Those guys are really shy. They all ran to the back of the tank. White knights. Yeah, I thought we had some. So we do have, a small, batch of them available. Unfortunately, they're not any bigger sizes, but we do have them. They're about, I'd say, 2 inches in size, but they should be on the website. So, all right, what else we got? The Geophagus. Let's go this way. And nobody asked about rainbow fish, so we'll just save that maybe for next Friday. We got a bunch of nice rainbows in, and they're really popular also. So here's the green Severums. Somebody was asking to show them Severums, so here's the green. All right, and the green is more or less what I would consider like an aquarium strain of Severums, so nobody knows the location. That's why we just sell it as a green, but they are very colorful, especially when the males get bigger, and they're great, for aquariums because they don't get too big. We got red hump Steindachnerai right here, so you can see one male starting to get some nice markings on him. See him right there. And then let's just go through and find some other Geophagus and Severum types. We got the gold Severums right here. Alright. What else we got? Not a Severum, but Firemouth. These guys are always looking spectacular. We got some Threadfent Acara. That's another Geophagus type. Nice thing about these guys, they get really nice long trailers on their fins. If that male will ever turn sideways, you get a good view of him. Just a really nice, not overly aggressive geo. Well, we got some Geophagus types, the labiatas. Let's see if that male will turn around. Looks like just one male in the tank. That's another very nice, peaceful fish. This is another one that I would keep in a species-only tank, and with females to get them to look really, really nice. We got some Geophagus balzani. So those guys are a little bit too small to sex. Looks like there's one nice male starting to get a hump there. What's cool about the Geophagus species is they're very peaceful, and they're awesome. So definitely, if you like peaceful fish, those guys are some of them. This is the red spotted. They're going to look similar to the gold, but you're going to see like little red spots coming out on these guys. So this is another one that a lot of times we sell them to people, and they're like, "Hey, I don't think you sent me a red spotted," and we're like, "Look, you just got to wait till that fish matures for those spots to get more pronounced." So the gold Severums, they will never have the spots, but the red spotted, as that fish matures, the spots are going to get bigger and bigger. And this is another fish that when it comes in from Asia, kind of like the peacock, African peacocks, they juice them in Asia. So even at this size, you're going to, see the bright spots just like an adult, but that's because they've been hit with hormones and they're, juveniles. They shouldn't have adult markings at that size, and juice fish are bad. They're bad for the hobby. They're bad for the fish. So, just always, know where your stock came from. We got some Altifrons here. Those guys are really, really small, so they're not showing any color yet. That's what the juveniles look like. And that looks like it. Didn't see any redheads, which is surprising. Let me come over here. I thought we had a few redheads left. Here's some red shoulder Severums here. These guys are still in quarantine, and they're very, very small. Let's see if I can get them to zoom in. So, and this is also an aquarium strain. It is not the true red shoulder Severums, but this is an aquarium strain that looks very, very nice when it gets mature. And we got a couple bigger redheads. I do not know if these are up on the site, but those guys are looking really nice. Let's see. All right, and that's pretty much all the Geophagus types. All right. Mike has asked, Francis has asked, any chance in the future of seeing more species from Lake Victoria? I know the perch have ruined it, thanks. Yes, it is going to be hard to get new strains in the hobby from Lake Victoria because of the turmoil that is going on the land around the lake, right? It has been very bad for nature. With having, all the destruction, pollutants. On top of that, there's been a lot of invasive species. But speaking of new Victorians, we have several new groups that we're breeding. All right, this is a very shy one, and we need to start writing the full name on there because they're Latin, but this is the Piceatus. Somebody might on here know what the beginning of that Latin name is, but very shy fish, but the males are really nice when they get into breeding dress. So this is a young breeding group of those guys. So that's a new Victorian. We got the Neochromis Makovis. So this is another Victorian type that we're growing up for breeders. That very nice. And then we have, I know we have the Neochromis species, which I think they took most of them back to the breeding greenhouse, but I see a couple females in this tank. This one is really nice because it's piebald. The females are, and the males are typically lube. But what's really interesting is that I've seen actually piebald males too. So it's not just the female that will be piebald, but also it can be males that are piebald too as you're breeding them. But that's a male with like 3 females in here right now. So, but we got a slightly bigger group of them, but they got moved to the greenhouse. A lot of these fish in this area have been moved to the greenhouses because now that it's nicer weather, we could breed them in the 200-gallon concrete tanks, you know. So, but we do have some new Victorians. It is a group of fish that I want to expand on, but it's very hard to get these strains of them because there's not new ones coming out of the wild very often. I know last on Facebook there's I don't know his name, but I always see him post up on the Victorian page all these new species that he's gone over and collected, but he's located in Europe, and I do know that there's been like talks about having him ship them over to the US. So if that happens, maybe we could get some of these new strains over here in the United States. There is a pretty big following for the Victorians, mainly because they're very rare and that they're endangered. So the more we learn about them, the better. You can see the ventralis Tanganyika here, the male. He's got these females all corralled up here in the corner. Somebody asked about a Madoka white lip male. So this is just a temporary tank. These juvies will not stay in here for very long, but if you want to see one of the big males with the white lips, there's one right there. And at this size is when the lips really start getting big and prominent. So pretty much from this size on, this is about a 5-6 inch fish. His lips are going to get big to the point they'll look like a human lip. I mean, they're big lips. And then we've got the Albino Madokas that we just got our first fry from last week. So I'm super excited to see what the Albino Madokas, when the males get big with those lips, how they look. I think that'll be really cool. I have a thing for albino fish, just because they do come from nature, but in nature they very seldom do they ever survive because they're picked off because of their albinoism. So I always like keeping albino fish because it is a natural occurrence, but you just don't see them from the wild because they don't survive. So there's the Madoka. All right, I see Ahmad's off. Thank you for joining, Ahmad, and everything that you do. Neochromis splendens, we are breeding them, so I know they've been getting some fry from them. We don't get a lot of babies from those. That was one that we brought in as wild caught, and Mike Bernard's been breeding them over there in the breeding room, and I'm hoping that those guys start, producing more. I know we have our first batch of offspring that are getting big enough to set up for breeders, so hopefully that next generation of breeders will be even better. A lot of times when you start off with wild caught fish, it's hard to get them to breed regularly because they're not adjusted to tank life yet, but as soon as we get like the F1s, those guys seem to be a lot easier to breed. So beautiful fish though, I do love those. Macuplinus, Richard Morano's asking about the Therichtes. We do have some that we're breeding. I hope that we are going to get some production from them real soon also. We've got several different strains of Therichtes types, so that is a really nice one. So I like that whole family of fish because they don't get too big, and they look spectacular. So, all right, so Vanessa is asking about Cenodontis Angelicus or Lucipennis petricolis. We have both. The Angelicus are a really good size too. These are the true Angelicus. So let me flip the camera around. I'll show you several of the Cenodontis we have. We got the multipunctatus, which are great for keeping with Lake Malawis and Africans. We've got the petricolas, and now these guys are a lot smaller. They are incredibly slow growers. So these guys are maybe like 1.25 inches long, but that's because that fish does not get very big, so they are a very slow grower. But don't buy these guys if you're going to put them in there with big peacocks or haps, because they could get eaten because they're still a little small. We got the Cenodontis Uterus, which is a really awesome looking fish, but be warned, these guys get massive. They are very, very big fish. So there's some of the Cenodontis there. We've also got the hybrid Angelicus, which these are crossed with a Uterus, and for the longest time Angelicus were not able to be bred in captivity, but now the person that created this same fish figured out how to breed the true Angelicus, which is very exciting because they are very rare and they are very, very nice. Let's see if I can try not to spook them. So this is the true Angelica species. For the longest time, these guys were very rare because they would only come in as wild caught, and it was very difficult to acquire them from the wild. But now that they are being bred in captivity, they are available. I will say that these fish are very expensive, and it's mainly because there's only one person that's breeding them, and kudos to him for figuring it out, but because there's no competition, he's the only one that breeds them. So and at a certain point, if that fish, if he starts producing large numbers of it, then the price might come down, but it's such a spectacular fish that they still sell. People take good care of them. That's a ossifeller, so it's also another big one. Somebody had mentioned about the Alanacar rostratum, how I tell people this is like the missing link between peacocks and predator haps, because it's a peacock that has the body shape of a predator hap. So very cool fish. All right, I rambled on enough. So thank you guys for supporting us and watching our Fun Fridays. If you're not in our Facebook group, Imperial Tropicals Fish Keepers, join that group and learn more about the passion of fish keeping. And we will also start doing more group sessions. I like to do that in the future, so try to interact. Right now I've been so busy that I do not even get on Facebook. It's not a thing that I'm able to do. All my day is consumed with my fish and my family. So but I do hope to be doing more videos and helping everyone learn more about what we do here at Imperial. So everybody have a great weekend, stay safe, and keep in touch with us, and we will try to come back on next Friday, okay?